Here's 100 ways Nintendo just infuriates me. Okay, starting off with the obvious, Joy-Con drift is downright unforgivable. Luckily, repairs are comped by Nintendo nowadays, but letting a console go to market with a malfunction this bad is criminal. Next is the way they just pack Nintendo Directs nowadays with a bunch of farming sims and JRPGs. If I'm being honest, no one really cares. Friend codes in 2024. Just please let us look up gamer tags and friend requests. It isn't rocket science. The refund policy is that there is no refund policy. If a game is glitchy and doesn't work, or even worse, just flat out sucks, there's no grace period for a refund policy. Nintendo games never go on sale. It's annoying, especially considering a lot of their audience is kids who just can't drop $60 on every single game. Nintendo does this thing where they release a terrible game, and if it doesn't sell well because it's a terrible game, they say, oh, it must be the series' fault, and then just never make another one. Cloud saves being paywalled behind NSO. It's just so incredibly scummy, and there's not much else to say. Just cloud saves should be the standard on every console. Speaking of NSO, locking online play behind the Nintendo Switch Online service just flat out sucks. I guarantee you a kid bought a game like Splatoon 3 to play with friends, and only to realize that they needed to pay an extra $20 to actually play it with them. Nintendo Switch Online replacing Virtual Console is starting to be acceptable, but having to wait nearly 7 years for it to feel like that is just ridiculous. Not getting N64 or SNES games out of the jump was just so annoying, when I could just buy a game on the Virtual Console back on the Wii. Then there's the expansion pass, which again was just not worth the price at launch. It's slowly working its way there, luckily, but N64 games, Genesis games, and an Animal Crossing DLC was just not worth the price of $50. The fact that there's large capacity cartridges that bigger games can easily fit into but don't because the cartridges cost too much and they just end up going for smaller cartridges with mandatory downloads, that one really bugs me. The fact that Nintendo can just never make a normal sequel. Besides Galaxy 2 and Tears of the Kingdom, name another time they just made a normal sequel. Like Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask. Why can't there just be a continuation of the story? I don't ever get it. Filling 25% of Switch releases with ports, remakes, and remasters. I get it, you needed to backload the console with a bunch of games out the jump, but it's just kind of weird in my opinion looking back. Not supporting competitive scenes of Smash is bad for both Nintendo and the community, as the community struggles to fund large tournaments, and Nintendo is giving up the opportunity to promote one of their best-selling games to new audiences through these tournaments. It's honestly really sad. Obviously, the Super Mario 3D All-Stars limited time release. They just did this for artificial scarcity, and I guess it kind of worked, because a lot of people bought this game multiple times. The fact that Nintendo releases a bunch of half-baked games with free updates to give the illusion of new content when really, all of those free updates are just things that should have been in the base game. But then, no DLC for games that would actually eat it up, like Super Mario Odyssey. The fact that that game got no extra kingdoms through DLC is an honest tragedy. Milking successful games and then just refusing to move on and make new ones. Prime example is Mario Kart 8. They ported it to the Switch with 8 Deluxe, and then they had the Booster Course Pass to give it a few extra years to finish off the Switch lifespan. The 3DS's launch lineup. Steel Diver, anyone? Taking down really cool fan games like AM2R and Pokénet. These games were super innovative, and Nintendo's just like, you know what? You can go screw yourself. Artificial demand causing hysteria when it came to the NES and SNES Classic Edition. I remember buying an SNES Classic Edition when I saw one at Target just for the reason that I was like, this might be worth something. And then it just became room decoration, so that's how that goes. Lazy third-party ports. I guess this isn't technically Nintendo's fault, but things like the GTA trilogy and the new FIFA or FC games, which are literally just roster updates of like FIFA 16, taking down emulators of games you literally can't buy from Nintendo themselves. There are so many games, whether it be GameCube or DS, that you literally can't play without having to go on eBay and buy it from somebody selling it for like $200. I don't understand how this benefits Nintendo at all to take down emulators. I know it's within their legal right, but if you're gonna take down the emulators, at least put those games on the Switch. Partnering with indie studios for projects such as Cadence of Hyrule was just so cool, and then they just completely dropped that idea. Being a generation behind graphically just because they can, and I think they'll continue doing this for many generations to come. The eShop and NSO apps on the Switch are just so laggy. If you want me to embrace the Nintendo Switch Online service, maybe you shouldn't make the online service app so laggy. It's so weird. You can have 4-player couch co-op Mario Kart, but you can't have 4 players during local or online multiplayer. It's so annoying. Purposely removing fun glitches in ports of old games. I'm not saying remakes, I'm talking about ports of the game. No voice acting in story-based games outside of cutscenes. I think a prime example of this is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. There's so much dialogue in that game that you have to read, but they already have voice acting in the cutscenes. And speaking of story, the lack of story in most Nintendo games. I think the fact that we even got a theme in Odyssey of a wedding was just mind-blowing, but really, there's no story to any Mario game except for Sunshine.
Leave my mama alone, you bad man!
But besides that, most Nintendo games, there's just nothing going on. It's also so hard to find good games on the eShop. You're usually just left looking through shovelware, and sometimes shovelware can be really weird. The lack of streaming services on the Switch is honestly just so weird. The fact that we only have YouTube and Hulu is just so weird. Now here's an interesting one. Most games on the Switch are $60, but you can only buy a gift card for $50. Super Nintendo World still isn't at Universal Orlando yet. The fact that Mario Kart Tour is supposedly Mario Kart 9 according to Nintendo makes my blood boil. Voice chat, or the lack thereof, on the Switch is insane for a console in 2024. I still don't think anybody's ever used the app to use voice chat, maybe besides to troll. It's actually insane that voice chat isn't on this console. Mother 3 never being localized, even after joking about it in an E3 Direct.
Come on, Reggie, give us Mother 3!
How about this instead?
How is this possible? Metroid Prime 4 is still not finished, also known as 7 years ago, also known as a third of my entire lifetime. Giving the Mario Party series to ND Cubed was the worst decision I think they've ever made developer-wise. Look at the games that Hudson Soft made, and then look at the games that ND Cubed made. The only game on there that is technically good is Mario Party Superstars, and they just copied the homework of Hudson Soft. The spine fonts on Nintendo Switch boxes are sometimes uniform, but then also sometimes not. And don't even get me started on the black spine for Nintendo Labo. Most directs being at 10 a.m. EST during school and work hours. I understand these are global events, but it's just so annoying. Showing laggy gameplay in trailers. You literally have the opportunity to cherry pick gameplay from your game that doesn't have lag in it, and you put lag in a trailer. That just shows that you're putting no effort into this, and it reflects. They're too committed to gimmicks. I love Nintendo, and I love their gimmicks, whether it be motion controls back in the day or Switch being a handheld hybrid, whether it be their games, whether it be their consoles. It's too much sometimes. Just go back to the basics, please. Just every once in a while. Still no easily accessible web browser on the Switch. No dedicated servers for online multiplayer. Absolutely zero consistency in how different games handle online. Some of them have custom lobbies, some don't, or at least didn't at launch. Some let you play with randoms, but some don't. It's just weird considering they make all of these games that they couldn't just easily standardize what they believe online should be. I don't quite get it. Amiibo's lack of use cases, I think, comes down to the fact that there's just not a lot you can do without making them just DLC in a toy, which is basically what they are. But they are kind of neat, and the read and write option has only really been taken and ran with the Smash series. No innovation when it comes to the Mario sports games. I feel like every single one just becomes lazier and lazier. asymmetrical Joy-Con. I've brought this up in a past video and still nobody cares, but the fact that most Switch consoles come with one color on the left Joy-Con and one on the right, I just don't really mesh well with it. I'm definitely better than I used to be, but I don't know. This is why I bought a gray Switch. I would have much rather 2 red Joy-Cons or 2 blue Joy-Cons, but so it is with their brand, I guess. An extra dock costs $60. The price of a game. It's basically a glorified dongle when you think about it. They keep remaking the same damn Star Fox game. No wonder nobody's playing the series. You gotta change it up. They brought back Kid Icarus with a banger, and then just forgot about it. And then there's F-Zero. Do I need to say any more? No remappable control options in most of their games. The only one I can personally think of is Smash Brothers, and we're lucky to have it in that game. The snail's pace release of games on Nintendo Switch Online. Oh my god, that might be the most annoying thing on this list. Like, the fact that N64 came out and I couldn't play any Mario Party games on there. Oh my god, it was terrible. Making Gary Bowser, the Switch hacker, pay $14 million for working for a hacking company when he only ended up ever making $300,000. Where'd they get this $14 million number? Are they just trying to put this guy in the hole for life? Like, oh my god, that's so sad. My Nintendo replacing Club Nintendo. The rewards are just not as good. Taking down Mario Battle Royale just to make Mario 35, and then take it down 6 months later. Luckily, you can still find Mario Battle Royale online, but don't tell anyone I said that. Not finding incredible fan projects and bringing them on like Sonic Mania. Shutting down the charity Etika Joy-Cons. That was just so scummy. Having one save file on Animal Crossing New Horizons per Switch was so annoying. I kinda get what they were going for with having you live in one town with everybody. In all honesty, there just should have been an option for one or the other. Shutting down the Smash Tournament Big House during COVID for using a mod that lets them play online when they literally couldn't meet up in person. The Smash mod Project M being taken down in hopes of a Nintendo-approved Smash circuit, just for that to never end up materializing. The fact that the N64 controller ever existed. Removing GameCube support from later Wii consoles. Very poor moderation on Miiverse post. Holy shit. The reward for collecting all 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild is Hetsu's Gift, which is really just, it's just poop. That happened. Selling out Sega in Congress during the Mortal Kombat hearing by saying that Sega made obscenely disturbing games, while all Nintendo did was ever make innocent, family-friendly games. DMCAing Mario-inspired games on Sony's Game Maker game, Dreams. Going ahead with Philips instead of Sony to create the infamous Philips CDI. The reward for 100%ing Super Mario 64 is a special triple jump in 100 lives. Because after there's literally nothing left to do in that game, 100 lives is just what you want. Removing the Wii, Wii U, and 3DS eShop, and making all of those digital-only games impossible to play forever. Giving Point Crow 2 copyright strikes on modded gameplay videos just to make an example out of him. Amiibo shortages in store exclusives was so obscenely anti-consumer, and all it did was drive the Amiibo rage, which, you know, I loved watching the Amiibo hunting videos online during that time, I can't lie, but I think that's the only reason they really became popular, is just because they decided to not make a lot of them. Wii U ads, do I need to say anymore? Now, this one isn't about Nintendo, but it is about their fans, and it's about them not holding them accountable when they make anti-consumer decisions. And when anybody does complain about them, everybody just says you're being ungrateful. And, you know, hopefully I don't get those comments in this video. Nintendo Directs don't have fun little skits in them anymore, and the charm is just kinda gone. Features that are industry standard but don't appear, like any racing game worth its salt allows you to make playlists of tracks you want to play, but not Mario Kart. The fact that 1-2 Switch wasn't a pack-in title for launch is insane. That game is literally made to demo the features of the Switch, yet they decided, I think people want to pay for this game. And I guess some people did. I did, so. Killing off the Miis and not making them the stars of Nintendo Switch Sports. I will never forgive them for that. The Nintendo Creator Program. I know, they ended it. The fact that they ever claimed YouTube videos is just so scummy that it obviously deserves to be here. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and Breath of the Wild on the same console are both the same price. I'm sorry, I know not every game can or should be as high quality as Breath of the Wild. But if you're going to release two games with this much of difference in their quality and content, it's just a joke for them to be the same price. I can't be the only one. So Nintendo has shown that they're okay with porting 3DS games to the Switch in HD like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. But why, of all games, was this the one they picked? If it had to be a Mario game for sales purposes, it should be 3D Land. It's right there. Kid Icarus Uprising would have also been perfect, but we already have Luigi's Mansion 3, and this feels like just such a waste. And why are their accessories so expensive? Joy-Con are overpriced, the Joy-Con grip could literally just be 3D printed for a tenth of the cost, and it feels like every controller or accessory they sell is almost double what the fair price should actually be. When Super Mario 3D World was about to release, they put out a trailer spoiling the fact that Rosalina was a playable character. I guess they felt like this game needed more hype, which I understand, but I disagree with revealing this. It would have been such a cool surprise. Nintendo can just never play from ahead. They always need to be the underdog to succeed, whether it be the failing GameCube and then the comeback with the Wii, or the failing Wii U and the comeback with the Switch. I really hope we're not set up for another downfall with the next console, but it really wouldn't surprise me at this point. Super Mario 64 DS is stuck on a console with no joystick and can only be played using a D-pad. Absolutely zero content moderation when it comes to Smash custom stages. Do not go on there when you have your family around. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Create me by photo. I do not look like that.
What the hell? No, that's the worst possible thing that could have happened. Oh no.
Wii Points. Instead of paying for games with money, you had to pay for Wii Points, which most of the time left you paying more money for extra points that you did not need. Making Super Mario Party only playable with Joy-Cons, so people had to go out and buy an extra pair just to play with 4 people, even if they had a Pro Controller. Not putting their soundtracks on Spotify or any other platform. They're honestly just losing out on money. The state of modern Pokemon games. They're not made by Nintendo, but they're not innocent in this at all. They could 100% just step in and fix these games if they wanted to, but they don't because they still sell well. The Nintendo Switch Online phone app. It's just so dumb. The idea of Nintendo working with other AAA studios is so cool, but the only things they do are Mario RPG with Rabbids and a Star Fox story in a Toys to Life game, both by Ubisoft. The possibilities here are insane compared to what we got. What the hell has Retro Studios been doing for the past decade? Even working on Metroid Prime 4 and Prime Remastered, they should have at least had one other game out by now. Letting the director of, let's see, the Maze Runner movies make the first ever Zelda movie. I mean, it could be decent, but you can't tell me that he was the best guy for the job. Super Nintendo World should really just be called the Mario theme park, because there's nothing outside of Mario besides a couple hidden Pikmin. Nintendo has such a cool collection of series. The fact that there's nothing else there is just such a shame. And finally, no Super Mario Odyssey 2. The fact that this never existed is literally just criminal, and there's nothing else I have to say. Thanks for watching the video. Don't worry, I still love Nintendo. Just wanted to make this video because I thought it'd be fun. If you want to watch another video, you should go watch this video right here, talking about the future of 3D Mario. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.